So let me just kind of offer some pushback. Again, these aren't my opinions, of course, but let's see. Haven't several of the post-conciliar popes taught heresy? And does not a pope automatically lose office for heresy?
Okay, so they would first have to prove that what these popes taught was heretical. Okay, in a debate, I would have them do that, and they wouldn't be able to do it. But even if they would be able to do it, I would point out the fact that St. Robert Bellarmine, who is one of their chief authorities, actually taught in his book on the Marks of the Church, chapter 8, that a Catholic bishop who teaches heresy is not considered a heretic until he is formally adjudged a heretic by the Church. That's the teaching of St. Robert Bellarmine. That's the teaching of the Catholic Church. I haven't ever heard a Sedevacantist quote chapter 8 of the Marks of the Church by Robert Bellarmine. Okay, are they aware of it? I don't know. They always refer to Bellarmine's teaching that, what you just mentioned it, Matt, that a heretic ipso facto loses his office. What Bellarmine meant by that is after his pertinacity is established by the Church. This is part of Revelation in St. Paul's letter to Titus, where you warn the heretic twice and then avoid him. So Bellarmine is clear. You can even read his book on the councils, De Concili, where he says a pope is deposed for heresy when he is formally judged and convicted of heresy by the Church. So all these Sedevacantists point to the one statement of Robert Bellarmine in De Romano Pontifici, where he talks about the fifth opinion and says that an ipso facto heretic loses his office automatically, but he's referring to the loss of office after the Church judges him a heretic. Now, there's a distinction there because he might go on, well, he did go on to say, and Suarez clarified this, without a further declaration. What Bellarmine was referring to there, Matt, is he was maintaining that his and the Jesuit opinion, which we called it in our book, Bellarmine and Jesuit, Suarez held the Jesuit opinion where as soon as the Church would establish the Pope's pertinacity and judge him a heretic, he would lose his office without any further declaration. That's what without any further declaration means, because the Dominicans actually go a step further. They say that once the Church judges that he's a heretic, there's an extra step. And that extra step is, because this all happens behind closed doors in an imperfect council, the Church has to actually command the faithful to avoid the Pope. That's the extra step that the Dominicans held, Cajetan held it, John of St. Thomas held it. So when St. Robert Bellarmine says that a manifest heretic automatically loses his office without a further declaration, he means that when the man is judged a heretic by the Church without a further, what is called a vitandus declaration, which the Dominicans held. You see the nuances there. This is what the society, the Sedevacantists have completely missed. And there's a distinction there between the Jesuit opinion and the Dominican opinion. But both opinions hold that it is the Church that actually judges, first through canonical warnings, whether the Pope, first of all, the question is whether the Pope even holds to a material heresy. Now, can you point to anything that these popes have said that is materially heretical? Usually, it takes extra steps of reasoning to get to a heresy, which means it's not heresy because it's not a direct denial of a dogma of the faith. But even if it would be, you would have to establish heresy through a judgment, through warnings, canonical warnings. And this isn't just Bellarmine. We go through this in detail in our book, Matt. For example, the Fourth Council of Constantinople in the mid 800s declared at that council that Catholics cannot separate from their bishops, their heretical bishops, without a judgment of the Church. This has always been the teaching of the Church. It's a teaching to this day. Under Canon 194, sub 2, it says that one who holds office in the Church does not lose his office until it's declared that he's lost his office. That's important, Matt, because it's by virtue of the office that you hold jurisdiction in the Church, generally. Right? If you have title and office, you would hold jurisdiction in the Church, and you only, lose office and jurisdiction upon a declaration. This is exactly what Bellarmine taught, what Suarez taught, what Cajetan taught, what John of St. Thomas taught, what The Fourth Council of Constantinople taught this is the perennial magisterial teaching of the church. It's never an act of private judgment. I mean, a legal office is a legal matter, right? So isn't it understandable that you need a legal process to remove somebody legally from a legal office? It's common sense, right? And the church is teaching us common sense here.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe or you're a dingus. What's a dingus exactly?
Used to refer to something one cannot or does not wish to name specifically.
You don't have to subscribe, but if you did, I'd love it. You dingus.
Like the video. That's who we're using that one. Take one.